Whenever I try new games, I look for game design lessons I can learn from my own projects. World of Goo has strong user interface, gameplay progression, and atmosphere, so I looked at these aspects to figure out why they're so successful. Let's start with the user interface. The cursor is a black circle with a short trail, which makes it fun to move around. It has a gray outline that makes it easy to see even on dark backgrounds. When you pick up a ball, the usual cursor disappears so you can better see what you're doing. As you move a ball around, it squashes and stretches along the velocity vector, a fundamental technique in animation that adds life and realism to these objects. Releasing the goo balls is made more juicy, so to speak, by adding a small shower of little droplet particles. When the selected ball is held near a connected structure, ghostly lines appear to show how it will attach. These lines shrink into nothing as the ball moves out of range, giving an analog indication of how far they can stretch, instead of just a binary indication of whether it can attach or not. The menu interface is also very clear. Every button shows exactly what it will do, and then gives feedback to reinforce what it did. The transitions between screens are fast and entertaining, disguising load times with animations and title screens. Now let's move on to gameplay progression. This is the first level. It is interesting because it never pulls you out of the game to say this is what to do. You're expected to experiment and figure it out, and look at the sign in the background if you are totally confused. Drag and drop to build to the pipe. That's really all you need to know. You can figure out all the details just by looking at what happens now. This screen makes it obvious that the goal is to collect as many goo balls as you can, as fast as you can, with as few moves as possible. Show, don't tell. It's a cliche, but true. Watch how we're shown which level we've unlocked. This is my favorite transition in the game. It is very hard to smoothly bring the player back to a world map, and this underground pipe transition really keeps a sense of momentum and attachment. Each level on the first island exists to teach the player about a different gameplay mechanic. What is special here is that they serve as guides rather than school teachers. For example, this level tells you that you can build bridges, but it doesn't teach you how. You have to figure that out for yourself. Figuring out how to do these things is really why this game is fun and rewarding. What's interesting about this level is that they don't tell you that these spinning blades are fatal to your goo balls. What they do tell you is that you can click on these bugs flying around to go back in time. And of course, you use that after you kill your guys for the first time. These new mechanics are also always only part of the objective. Like here you have to wake up these goo balls below, but you also have to build the pipe above. Every time they introduce some weird new strategy, that's one more tool they can use on the later levels, to make it hard without being unfair. On this level, a sign tells you that you can click to draw the balls closer to the cursor, but they don't tell you why, so you have to figure that out. By making your tutorial fun, you can make a complicated game that appeals to everyone. By slowly building up the player's skill in a fun way, you can end up making really complicated levels like this one, and it won't feel unfair. It'll just be a natural progression of the player's skill set. To make absolutely sure that a player can't get stuck permanently, there's a limited number of skips you have to skip levels entirely. Conversely, if it's too easy, you can try for the OCD requirement, or Obsessive Completion Distinction criteria. My favorite hint in this game is a level titled, "You have to explode the head." This is a new mechanic, and without that title I'd have no idea what I was supposed to do. That brings us to atmosphere. Let's look at a few different levels and just see how different they are. This level here shows off the layering techniques that they use to achieve rich and active looking backgrounds. Let's look at these layers one at a time, from back to front. First, there's this yellow, red, and black gradient which forms the background of the entire level. Next are these rotating wheels and gears. Then come these volumetric spotlight effects, which help make the room look smoky. Next we have the fire layer, which consists of a number of particles shot upwards. Then comes the middle layer with the level itself, including including the walls and all of the static objects like pipes and spikes. Next we have the active objects like the goo balls and their structures. In front of that are even more volumetric light effects, like this glowing sphere. Finally, there are these little black soot particles that are flying upwards, in crossbeams across the front of the entire level. All of these layers add up to make a really active-looking level, which reinforces the industrial theme of this island. The cold, snowy exterior serves to contrast the fiery levels and make them feel even hotter. There are a couple other graphical techniques that I thought worth mentioning. First, each goo ball casts a shadow around it that is masked to the level layer. This is a very efficient technique that helps make these layers look like they exist in the same space. Second, the extreme foreground and distant objects are usually blurred. This serves two purposes. First, it shows that it's in the distance and you don't have to care about it. And second, it allows them to use smaller, more efficient images. Having strong atmosphere doesn't just mean looking and sounding good. Each island here has a specific theme to it, and each level on each island serves to expand on that theme and tell a story. The theme and story is supported not only by the graphics and music, but also by the level itself. Here's an example of a level with a theme of making sacrifices to achieve fame. An open-minded literary critic could have a field day trying to analyze the symbolism of that level, but I'm not going to go into that. The level design, story, art, and music in this game fit together very well. I'm not sure how they got such great communication between those departments. Well, I guess that explains it. Well, that's about all I have to say about World of Goo. I hope you enjoyed my first game design tour.